Should I use my 5 free transfers or should I use my free hit? Guys, these are my transfer plans for game week 8. Let's get right into the video. We will begin on a slightly sad note. We got a small red arrow in game week 7, and it was one of those game weeks where it could have gone a whole lot better, but it also could have gone a whole lot worse. So I'm kind of grateful I've only taken a small red arrow and we've stayed inside the top 50k. I was considering Semenyo captain for a total of about 20 seconds, so I can't really say I'm unlucky there. I was never really going to captain him. I think Bruno was a little unlucky to not come away with more points, and I'm kind of frustrated that I held Konza and Watkins for home to Burnley and they both blanked. That is quite frustrating, along with the fact Porro got 7 points on my bench. If I started him, I may have got a green arrow. Another part of that Spurs game that didn't help me was Kudus getting loads of points. He was one of the biggest threats to my rank. Apparently, a lot of people own Mohamed Kudus, which is fair enough. I've recommended him in a lot of places to my videos, so fair play for you guys to holding on to him. But those points really didn't help me. I'm quite thankful in the 4:30 game, Man City versus Brentford, Reinders didn't get any returns, because if he did, my rank would be well and truly dead. It is also worth noting the biggest threat to my rank, Gahi from Crystal Palace, got 0.7 expected goal involvements and could have come away with a monster haul to absolutely decimate my rank. But thankfully, a player in my team named Ilman Undai managed to bag me a goal and take away that clean sheet. And obviously we're very lucky he didn't get any goal involvements. So yeah, 33k to 50k, we'll take it. We have 5 free transfers and we might be playing our free hit. So let's get into the transfer plans and see what I'm considering doing for game week 8. This is the team with no transfers made. We have 5 free transfers, as I've mentioned already, and as you can tell, there's a lot of players I might want to sell, a lot of players with some tough fixtures. We have Ndai, Mbumo, Bruno, Watkins, Konza, so many players who either have bad games or on bad form. And there's definitely a lot of upgrades I can make here. Ideally, I want either Saka or Palmer, because Haaland needs some captaincy rotation in the coming game weeks. Game weeks 11, 13 and 14 specifically, he doesn't do too well. He could be my captain. He's always a good captaincy option, but I'd like another one just in case I want to go with something different, go with a premium player that actually has a good fixture. And that's got to be Saka or Palmer. Salah is too overpriced, Isak is too overpriced because he's not on penalties and his form isn't even that good, which pretty much leaves Saka and Palmer as my only options. Now, I do prefer Palmer because I don't think he's as much of a minutes risk as Saka. They're both going to be playing a lot in the midweek, don't get me wrong, but Palmer's a guy who's probably going to be starting every single game week and he's definitely on penalties. The issue is he's injured and probably won't start until game week 10, and that's a rough estimate. It could be even longer. Whereas Bukayo Saka, I could get him in right now. The issue is his minutes aren't as reliable as they used to be. Arteta knows he needs to manage Saka's minutes now, so Saka may not start every single game. If they've got an easy game in the Premier League and a tough game in the Champions League, Arteta may want to bench Saka for the Premier League game. There is also the penalty situation. He obviously did take the last one, which does boost Saka's appeal, but he has a tendency to give away penalties to players that need a goal or just for the sake of giving them away. So that also makes me, lack confidence in Saka as an FPL asset. But if I want to use my free transfers instead of my free hit going into game week 8, I'm going to have to bring in Saka instead of Palmer. I don't want to wait around with loads of budget in my bank waiting for Palmer to come back when it could take a few more game weeks for him to actually return. Whereas Saka's underlying data is still really, really good. He gets really high expected goal involvements and he is on some set pieces. He's not really on a lot of corners or free kicks, but obviously he is on them penalties. I like Saka because he gets high expected assists and high expected goals. He got a lot of expected assists last game week and he should have come away with more points, but Gyökeres and Eze didn't want to finish the big chances he created for them. So I think he's got a lot of potential for really high scores, which makes him a good captaincy option. The issue is, are his teammates actually going to finish their chances? That's what I'm worried about. So yeah, let me paint a picture for you guys. Let's look at the transfers I might make. My priority is to bring in Saka and to bring in Ismaili Sarr, as well as get rid of my Aston Villa players. So let's go look at the transfers I will be making if I want to use free transfers instead of a free hit. So first priority is to get Saka, and Mbumo is the man I will be sacrificing. It could be a little easier with Bruno, but I think Bruno's been very unlucky to not be on more points, and I still think he'll finish as one of the highest scoring midfielders in the game. If he could score his penalties and didn't miss out on DEFCONs last week, he would be the second highest scoring midfielder in the game. So he's a player I don't want to miss out on, a player who can hold in literally any game of football. And Ndai would be the man I sacrifice to bring in Ismaili Sarr. Even though Ismaili Sarr has a decent fixture on after that Man City game, I don't really want to keep him over Ismaili Sarr because Sarr just has so much better underlying data and an even better fixture run than Ndai. So that transfer kind of makes itself this game week because Ndai is playing away to Man City, whereas Sarr while this fixture isn't easy, it's a lot easier than playing away to Man City. So yeah, those two transfers this game week are pretty simple. Two players with tough games, swapping them in for players who are on good form and good fixture runs. Then we want to get rid of the Aston Villa players. We'll start off by talking about Konza. I need to save some more money to make these transfers, so both these players need to be downgraded to cheaper options. Now switching to a Leeds defender may just seem like I'm bringing in bench fodder, but Leeds' defensive data this season is in the top half of the table. Their expected goals conceded is lower than most teams, and their expected clean sheets is higher than most teams. They even deserve to win that Spurs game. They had over 2 expected goals, and they only conceded 0.5 expected goals, so they defended very well that game and could have easily come away with a clean sheet if it was on a different day. Rodon's also got really good defensive contributions potential as well, so for 4 million, he's great value, and he will be starting a fair few games for me. He won't just be sat on the bench the entire time. As for Watkins, there's a couple forward options that are good, specifically the Newcastle striker, Walter Marde, if that's how you say his name, I'm not too sure. But the man I like even more is Jared Bowen. Now, Jared Bowen has not had a single big chance this season. Not a single big chance. He's still scored 3 goals. I believe with the new manager boost and the really good fixture on this coming up, his underlying data is going to change, and every big chance he gets, hopefully, he should put them away because he's usually very clinical with his finishing and usually overperforms his expected goals. The funny thing is this season with Jared Bowen is that he has 3 goals and 0 assists, yet his expected assists are near identical to his expected goals. So he's been fairly unfortunate to not be on some more assists, but then again, he's overperformed his expected goals. So those scales of luck and bad luck kind of balance out. While I do believe West Ham do have a really good fixture run and I believe their manager is going to improve them, it's still going to be a massive risk to go for Jared Bowen, but I like him a lot more than any other option. I'm also a huge fan of Mateta. I really like Mateta. His expected goals numbers are ridiculously high. The issue is he's not been very clinical at all, and he does play away to Arsenal along with his Ismaila Sarr in game week 9. I don't really want to double up on an attack that's playing away to Arsenal because the chance of Arsenal conceding every game is under 50%. I bet on Arsenal to keep a clean sheet against almost any team in the league. So even though Crystal Palace are a pretty good attack and they're generating a lot of chances, I would not want to double up on the Crystal Palace attack for game week 9. There's definitely a lot more avenues I could go down for this. Like if I did want to wait for Cole Palmer, I could bring in some cheaper players and just wait around with some budget in my bank. But the potential for Saka's points these next few game weeks are way too good to miss out on. I need to commit to either Saka now or use my free hit in game week 8 and then go into Palmer around game week 9 or 10. But guys, feel free to let me know in the comments below what transfers you would make differently. If you have a better option or a better route you think I should go down, let me know because I'm still open to ideas. You know, I'm not fully set on this. I've still got nearly 2 weeks to make my final decisions. Now, next up, we're not going to look at what my free hit team would look like. We can do that in a team selection video if we do end up going for the free hit. Let's pretend I've used my free hit for game week 8 and we're going into game week 9 with the 5 free transfers. This way, we've not burned a free transfer because we used the free hit. We'd still be saving all our transfers and not wasting any. And here is why I'm kind of tempted to use the free hit. This is my team with no transfers made. And as you can see, there's only really a few players you'd want to sell, you know. A lot of players here have good or decent underlying data and a good fixture. The only players I desperately want to get rid of here is Watkins, Konza and Porro. And if I need to get Palmer in, I can just sell Mbumo and downgrade some other players, make them cheaper, and bring him in easily. As you can tell, the way I'm talking about this option, I do prefer it a lot more. The reason I prefer this option a lot more is because I prefer Cole Palmer to Bukayo Saka in FPL, and I've already said this. I don't like the fact I'm using my free hit quite early, but then again, I don't have a use for it anywhere else because I have so many free transfers and I still have my wild card left. There's not really going to be a game week that I'm struggling to bring in good players, especially because for that game week 16 deadline, I'm going to be getting a bonus of 5 free transfers. My biggest issue is actually not wasting any transfers. They might get to a point where I don't have any to make and I'm just throwing transfers away for no reason. I'm not going to talk about the transfers I'd make with this team because that's still a few weeks into the future and I don't want to get ahead of myself. But the point I'm making is my team actually isn't so bad in general. My team just doesn't look great for game week 8. So that's why I could use the free hit, then adjust for Cole Palmer in either game week 9 or game week 10. And I'm leaning towards this option more because I have so many free transfers. It doesn't matter if I use up my free hit. If there is a double game week and I need to use a chip for it, I don't need to. I could just use all of my free transfers to bring in double game week players, or for a blank game week, I could bring in players who aren't blanking with all my free transfers. It's going to be very easy for me to navigate either way. So players I would be selling in game week 8 like Ndiaye and Mbumo, I may not sell them ahead of game week 9 unless Palmer comes back, then I'm selling Mbumo. And Ndiaye, I can hold him for a little longer until I want to bring in Ismaila Sarr in game week 10. So this is a lot more flexible, and it means I can bring in Palmer instead of Saka. I like it a lot more at the moment, but then again, it does depend if Palmer can actually come back soon enough. He's estimated to come back around game week 9, so I think his first start will be in game week 10. It could still be in game week 9 depending on his recovery. Either way, it is weird to go for a free hit when you have 5 free transfers. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this. Am I planning right, or am I jumping the gun a bit here? Am I going a bit too out there, thinking a bit too far outside the box? Let me know down in the comments what you would do. Anyway, guys, if you did make it this far, thank you very much for watching. You are greatly appreciated, and I will see you all in the next video.